Giving you hit.
On a side note, another reason you don't buy pirated anime that's released here, besides, you know, I mean, my personal policy, if it's released here, don't steal it, but if you can't get it any other way, then you're kind of out of luck on the other way. The walrus guy is referred to by a Japanese name through most of the series, but then they must have whipped the slave that they had translating it, the pirates had translating it to death, and then they had to replace him because it suddenly changes to Sea Ox Man or Sea Dog Man for a while there. And then because, you know, these translations are usually such high quality, he's eventually known as Sex Ox Man. That has nothing to do with the censorship panel. That's more me yelling about don't buy pirated anime because that's the quality you get. So anyway, so you have that opening, which is not unlike a sports anime opening. You know, encouraging. You know, getting you pumped. Even though the characters are ridiculous, they keep it serious. When Ultimate Muscle came out over here, though, this is what we got.
Big bad boys, modest babies. Get body slam the human race. Wrestlers raised to our defense, strength and speed and flatulence. Heroes join the operation from different planets, different nations. There's an intergalactic federation to monitor the situation. Catch each and every confrontation.
We broadcast on this station. Well, let's run the planet. I'm the master hit. The face of our new champion. In their hand, a kid. Muscle has power. He's also kind of nuts. This guy could save the universe.
If he only had some guts.
So that's what we got. Because hey, fart jokes are hilarious, and we need to sing the premise out, and yeah, let's just make it obvious that everything is insane. I absolutely hate that intro. I call it the Ultimate Muscle Trucker song about flatulence. So that's what we get, you know, and the worst end of things. Other times though, and this is most censorship happens in. This is just intros. This is just the marketing aspect. In the actual show, censorship, you know, there we go. Censorship is sometimes even worse. Usually, it's bad enough when it affects, or when it's just aesthetics, but if it affects the plot line, you know. On a side note, though, the little guy is well, he's referred to as Kid Muscle. His actual name in reality is Kaniku Man Montaro, or Kaniku Montaro. That was right, Kevin? I believe so, because they actually make a word pun where it's he keeps calling, he just says Kaniku Mantaro, and they think that he's the original Kaniku Man. And he's like, don't divide the name up, you know, any way you please, and call me Kaniku Man. So anyway, but the little guy's his trainer, and in the Japanese version, it's a kid's voice because he's little, but here they decided, hey, let's get this Rocky thing going and have him have a deep voice like, you know, like Rocky's trainer, and it doesn't fit. But anyway, I digress. This is from Yu-Gi-Oh! On political correctness, everything is basically every censorship thing is cultural, of course, like I said, because in Japan, content is more offensive, content is more tolerable, but they don't see it as offensive, so that's kind of a moot point. Political correctness is a big thing. This is a censorship out of Yu-Gi-Oh! The one on the left is the censored version. The one on the right is the original. It looks like a pentagram. Not in the traditional sense, but a parent is going to look at that and say, "Oh, that's evil. This is what they're showing satanic symbols to my child." So yeah, that little burst thing is their solution to it. That's just one of the ways they censor for political correctness. Another thing, of course, is ethnic stereotyping. In Japan, Japan is an isolationist society. Almost everyone there is Japanese. In America, we have all types from all different nations. But in Japan, has been so bad so much as late because for whatever reason. But before, black people were like drawn in a way that was considered offensive. Not necessarily because Japanese were trying to be offensive, but because either they didn't understand, how to create a black character because there aren't really any black people around, or because, like for one example, One Piece. I don't have a picture here, but it's pretty great. There was a pirate. The style of One Piece is a lot of characters have big lips. That's just how it is. Well, they just happen to have one black character who had the big lip style. So they made him white real quick because it's like, oh well, big fat lips. That's just offensive. We can't have that.
I believe they censored a Pokemon that was like that. They had a Pokemon that was
Yeah, there was a few banned
yeah.
episodes.
Was it Jinx? Yeah, Jinx was big lip, big
Oh,
eye,
yeah, I
big
think
white
I remember
eyes,
that.
and black, and they censored that character.
I would not be surprised. But as you can see in the
Shaman King, there is a black character, big lips, big afro.
Yeah, there was a game, an obscure Japanese RPG based on Tom Sawyer and the black character. Some people know, but they apparently know this. Rendered in 8-bit, tiny little ears, tiny little beady eyes, big lips that came down to here and the fro. So the Japanese just, at some points, did not understand, the concept, or they didn't understand, how politically. Not that game was ever released here, but they don't share the same political feelings about racial stereotyping as we do, because it doesn't come up. Religious terminology is also a big thing. A lot of America just has a bug up its butt about religion. Obviously, with I'm going to speak personally. The past presidential campaign, religion was a big deal. In Japan, not so much. It's a Shinto. It's primarily a Shinto culture, but despite that, anime is full of references of that religion, and no one thinks anything of it. Religion is not seen as something as serious in Japan as a general rule. It's a part of everyday life, but not something in this culture that is seen as something to get worked up about. Christian crosses are airbrushed out. Titles of Bibles are taken out. The best one, of course, is the manji, the backwards swastika. History has it that Hitler saw that and twisted it around. But anytime there was actually a Pokemon character I remember that had one of those, and they censored that, I believe. But it's like, no, you idiots, it's the other way around. It's not. It means a completely different thing, but no one's going to understand that because we don't know that as generally as a culture. Another thing about political correctness that